Compassionate burnout is something that happens to people who are continuously giving out their energy to the world and who are not replenishing that energy in. And empaths are particularly susceptible to compassionate burnout. And these are the reasons why. When an empath gives, it gives completely. Whether it's in an organization, whether it's in the family, they will be the one that really looks into what's needed, what's required here, and will say, I can do that. I don't mind doing that. And they react so well to being able to make this world a better place, because us empaths are wired to be transformers. We are literally catalysts for change. So when we see that something needs to be done, we will jump in and say, no problem at all. And in that moment in time, that's what we mean. However, if that empath is left day in, day out, carrying the can for somebody else, getting zero recognition and validation for what they're doing, getting used for their kindness, or overlooked for their own needs, over time, that empath will begin to start to feel their energy drain. Because at a soul level, and I know this as being a soul reader, when we're doing things that are above and beyond the call of duty for the soul, which are outside of your soul purpose, that are not aligned with your true path, you will begin to burn out, because your earthly existence is around giving and receiving, experiencing all of life, the good and maybe the soul lessons that need to come in. But it's not just about giving and giving and giving and giving and having no permission slip for self-care in your life. So when the empath goes into a state of moving from the first phase, which is enthusiasm, into the second phase, which is the phase of irritability, there will be a dip in the energy field. And this is when the empath is becoming aware of the fact that not everybody's carrying the can, and that there is very little validation, appreciation for what they're trying to do to make the life of another person easier. This can be critically harsh on an empath, because they feel like, why do I feel like I need a compliment? And it's not that they necessarily need a compliment, but they don't want to be taken for granted for their kindness and their love. And if they begin to sniff the fact that this is actually happening to them, the bitterness and the disappointment literally rises within them, and they can become very judgmental of themselves, thinking, I shouldn't be having these thoughts. I shouldn't be thinking like that. Someone else is less fortunate than me. And why am I thinking of myself during this situation? What am I doing? Can I stop doing this? And they submerge their feelings. They pretend that their feelings don't matter, and they walk in the other person's shoes and deny themselves those feelings. Unfortunately, over time, that irritability stage can cause something that is quite synonymous with the empath's experience, and that is that feeling of being passive aggressive. So we may not say what we need to say, but we might sigh. We might say, there we go again. It may be our body language that gives us away, and someone else could see that we're not happy. And if they call us on it, we'll say, no, I'm fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. When actually we mean, no, I'm crying out for a little bit of help, a little bit of status quo, a little bit of balance here, and please help me. And please read the fact that I need help, and don't ask me to ask you for help. This is a real silent cry of the empath, because unfortunately, when an empath can read people and read situations and just know instinctively what to do to make something better, they expect that that's the same for everybody else. So a lot of the time, they don't feel that they need to be really upfront with their words, with their emotions, because they feel that the other person should be able to read the situation, should be able to see, to sense, to notice that they need to up their game, that they need to give a hand, that they need to at least offer, that they need to show some level of appreciation. And when this doesn't happen, what you have is a very confused person who is wondering on the outside why we are irritable, and someone else, the empath, saying, how come nobody cares? I feel walked upon, I feel like a doormat, and it's like everyone doesn't give a damn. Okay, so this can become a really long-term place of exhaustion and hurt for the empath. And over time, if this happens, the empath begins to withdraw. A feeling of depression can come over them, a feeling of apathy, a feeling of, I just need to disconnect from this. I need to disassociate from the pain. And this can often happen in relationships where the empath, be it male or female, has been giving to that relationship, been people pleasing for a long time, and feel like they're getting nothing in return. And they will begin to withdraw from the relationship. They will begin to withdraw from the situation in order to protect their heart. And this exacerbates the situation even further, because once again, the empath feels like it is misunderstood. The fourth and final phase for the empath is what I call the final quitting, which is where the empath has been dealing with this and feeling drained, exhausted, overwhelmed for a long time. And eventually they just shut down. They come into a state of disconnection within themselves and in their environment. Excuse me. And they feel like they just can't stay. And their heart is broken. They're grieving. And they feel closed off. They feel numb. They feel like they cannot feel themselves. And they turn against the world. And they shut everybody out. And they disconnect. And this is one of the really harsh moments for an empath, because an empath comes on earth to connect. Earthly connections are so important. That sense of purpose is so important for people. And that's how I got to know so many empaths, because they came seeking their purpose with me as a soul reader. And they just feel like they are spent. They have been zapped. They've taken in the emotions of others at a level that is just toxic, and they've had nothing in return. So they feel imprinted by the world. The world feels like a scary place, and their 110% goes to zero. And inside, energetically, they go from being a hero to literally zero. And it's like their energy body collapses. And they get so many ailments that go with this that many doctors can't understand, like ME and MS and fibromyalgia. And a lot of the autoimmune issues that happen to people happen because of compassionate burnout. I'm Julianna Jay, and as an empath coach and as a soul reader, I help people in my programs to recover from a compassionate burnout and to find their empathic soul, and to help them to let go of that feeling of being numb, that feeling of being withdrawn, and find a way back to that heart and soul that longs to help out, but in a healed and balanced way, where they actually recognize yourself back to yourself now. That you find the tools, the techniques, and most importantly, the support to walk your true path, so that you remain connected, real, loving, kind, and on purpose, today and always.